Hi, everyone. Thanks, Sam, for having me. So I feel really delighted to speak about how to grow and win in China. And a quick introduction about myself. So my name is Alexander Salem, and I am the Global Director of Business Development for Gaming in Huawei. I have spent the last 7 years in the gaming industry, first of all at King, the developer of Candy Crush, where actually one of my key assignments was to spend 6 months in Shanghai to help grow our Android business over there. And then I moved to Google, where I spent a bit more than 2 years leading the gaming partnerships team in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And I've been in Huawei leading globally the gaming vertical for a bit less than a year. So I think it's quite important to spend some time describing, having an overview of Huawei, because I feel in the West especially there is a lack of awareness, a lack of understanding of our history and of our activities. So Huawei was started as a business in 1987, which is actually much earlier than most of our global competitors. And over the years, we've become a global leader in information and communication technologies, with the mission to bring digital to every person, home, and organization for a more intelligent and connected world. So nowadays we are almost 200,000 full-time employees, and more than half of those full-time employees are actually in research and development, which is a testament of how much we are investing in our future and in improving our technologies. We are also spanning across 170 countries. And in terms of business activities, we are entirely diversified. We have 3 main business units. Number 1 is consumer, B2C activities, and I am part of this business unit. But we also have a carrier business where we address the telecom operators. And last but not least, we have an enterprise business. In terms of financial statements, so the latest official numbers I can share are H1 2020. And you can see on the pie chart on the right-hand side that despite exogenous hurdles and major hurdles such as coronavirus and the unstable geopolitical situation, we've been able to generate more than $64 billion in just half a year, which translated into almost 10% net profit rates. And this is growing quite steeply year on year, more than 13% year-on-year growth versus 2019 H1. So what about App Gallery, our app store? So we launched our app store in 2011 in China, but App Gallery was actually only launched outside China in 2018. And in just 3 years, less than 3 years, we've joined the club of the exclusive club of the top 3 global marketplaces. So this is a tremendous momentum, but we want really to push, to keep pushing to make our marketplace, our app store, even more innovative, to create even more value for developers and for gaming users. So today in 2021, we are spanning more than 170 countries with our app store, and we cover 18 app categories, from news to e-commerce to music, to gaming, of course, which is a major investment for us. And even though we've launched quite recently in outside China, we are seeing a huge trust from the developers community. 2.3 million developers have already joined. They have registered to App Gallery. We are also seeing that 120,000 apps have integrated completely with Huawei mobile services, which is our mobile services framework. And when it comes to games, we've already onboarded 20,000 games globally, which is an increase of by 5-fold compared to last year. And in terms of downloads, we have achieved 200 million downloads in 2020, which is like more than 10 times what we had achieved the previous year in 2019. So as you can see, exponential growth across the board. In terms of gaming, more specifically, when we launched App Gallery outside China, we saw a lot of skeptical reactions. A lot of people were like, it's a very closed market. People are used to the status quo. Developers will not will to put eggs into more baskets, basically. And what happened in the following years has just proved them wrong. What happened is actually that most developers from across the range of genres, across geographies, have reacted very positively to our value proposition. And today you can find on App Gallery top-notch games across all genres, from the most casual or even hyper-casual to the most hardcore, coming from all the regions. And we have also attracted like some of the top grossing games on our platform, including Gardenscapes, which was kicked off on App Gallery a few months ago, very successfully so. We have also like had an amazing partnership with Gameloft in the last year. They have launched more than half a dozen of games on App Gallery, and they are doing amazingly well. So why would Western developers have to consider the Chinese market? I think, first of all, it is the most mobile-first market out there. There are more than 900 million mobile internet users in China, which on average have installed more than 50 apps on their phone, and who spend on average around 5 hours per day using apps. So this is a tremendous opportunity for any type of developer, obviously. And also, I want to add to that, as it was mentioned by the Newzoo presenter, that gaming in China is huge. It is the first global market, both in revenue and in number of players. So basically, it's a top of mind opportunity for any C-suite person in the gaming industry. But obviously, there are different characteristics in this market, and quite drastic differences versus the rest of the world that any developer in gaming needs to be aware of. In terms of genres, for example, I think mid-core and hardcore are much more important in China versus the rest of the world. RPG, more specifically, is a very successful genre in China. And also the characteristics that the Chinese players are looking for seem to be slightly different. We've organized like a lot of focus groups, and we have like more than 10 years experience in the market. And we know that, for example, graphics performance and innovative gameplay are really more important than average for Chinese players. So that said, there are very big challenges to face for any Western developer or international developer considering to penetrate the Chinese market. And I think the success really depends on understanding well those challenges and trying to put in place a smart mitigation strategy. So number one challenge is definitely policy and compliance. There are a complex list of policies, laws and regulations in China to consider when it comes to privacy, consumers protection, copyright, and those rules, any developer considering getting into Chinese market needs to spend some time trying to understand this ecosystem. The second challenge revolves around the requirements to distribute a game in China when it comes to getting a license from the local administration, and also a version number, so the famous ISBN license. And last but not least, distribution of the games might be quite challenging for international developers because the media ecosystem, the types of players are different. So it might be a bit tricky to know who to target and how, through which channel. So I think that we are uniquely positioned as Huawei to help developers thinking about penetrating the Chinese market, address all these challenges. We have more than 10 years of experience navigating the complex Chinese app distribution markets. We also have one of the biggest user bases in the country, and we know in depth like the local players and the local users' behaviors. So basically, our value proposition can be cascaded down into 4 items. First of all, qualification consulting, then localization and tech supports, third, user acquisition, and last but not least, markets and promotion. I will now detail each of those items. So first of all, as you probably all know, it is not like a piece of cake to distribute a game on the Android market in China. You need to get numerous approvals, and to help in that process, we have put in place as Huawei an IT self-service platform, enabling developers considering to get into the Chinese market to address all their questions, all their concerns about the processes involved in getting these approvals, and understanding also the regulations when it comes to privacy, consumer protection, copyright, etc., etc. And we have a lot of experience, seeing what it takes to get a license from the Chinese administration. So basically, you will find all the answers on our IT solution. And I think this is like a big help, because it can be quite complicated when you don't have the local experience. Then we are also providing services around localization. China is a completely different market with different user expectations and behaviors. And we have teams in advertising, in product, in operations, which will work hand in hand with you to address these questions. When it comes to advertising, we have a lot of experience in selecting the right message to the right audience and targeting the right group. In terms of products, we know what is required in terms of adaptation of the game to address the specifics of the Chinese players. In terms of operations, we have a lot of experience when it comes to featuring and operations, sales for a successful game in China. And in terms of market development, we can put you in touch with the right partners to succeed in the Chinese ecosystem. But not only localization, beyond localization, we can also help you in terms of tech. We have a suite of complex products to help you improve your in-game experience and to also accelerate the development of the games. So just one example is the Phoenix engine developed in-house by Huawei. This is an engine of graphics processing, which basically helps you creating better immersive 3D experiences for your players. And this is just one example, but we have a whole range of tech solutions to accelerate and improve your gaming experience in China. When it comes to user acquisition, we also offer you a full range of promotional resources to reach out to the audience for your game in China, from top banners to push notifications. And last but not least, you will never walk alone when it comes to marketing your game in China. In the last few months, we've demonstrated that we can be very powerful partners with content providers in maximizing the coverage, the awareness of the games. At the end of 2020, we've kicked off 13 marketing activities that were called, as an umbrella terminology, Game Fest. So the 13 games which were included, involved games, major iconic games such as Gardenscapes or Asphalt 9 by Gameloft. And the objective was basically to improve the awareness of those games being on App Gallery, and it resulted also in incremental downloads and revenue. Actually, the net incremental impact in terms of downloads was 1 million downloads across the 13 games covered by these campaigns. But our marketing push alongside our developers, partners, doesn't stop online. We also can help offline. And a good example of this support of these efforts is our partnership with Supercell. So last year, we opened a flagship Huawei store in Shanghai. And we partnered with Supercell in a very successful manner. So anyone entering the flagship store on the opening day could get the merchandising related to the games of Supercell. There was also 2 walls of the flagship store covered with characters from the Supercell franchise. And this resulted ultimately in like a very successful downloads for Brawl Star, which is one of the most iconic Supercell titles. So thanks to all these efforts, we've seen like a lot of success stories across genres coming from the West and getting into the Chinese market. So on the revenue side, some success stories include Gardenscapes by Playrix, which achieved more than 70 million RMB in 2020, as well as Talking Tom Gold Run by Outfit 7, which has achieved more than 40 million RMB revenue in 2020. And on the download side, we've also seen like very successful launches coming from outside China. One example is Temple Run 2, which has accumulated more than 200 million downloads in 2020. And of course, Subway Surfers by Thibaut Games, which has achieved more than 300 million downloads in 2020. So I'm done with the presentation, but before closing, I wanted to share a few words. So first of all, thanks a lot to the UKIE Association to allow us to participate in this great talk. Also, I want to say that if you wanna talk about like getting into the Chinese market, feel free to add me on LinkedIn. So with my name, Alexandre Salem. We also have an alias, gochina@huawei.com, where you could contact Huawei if you have any question about our value proposition to help you consider penetrating the Chinese market. And we have also developed this white paper for global app development in China that I highly recommend, where you can hear more about the Chinese market, its opportunities and its challenges. Thank you very much, everyone.